Remember that unmistakable Cadbury dairy milk taste from childhood? It's scientifically engineered to trigger nostalgia receptors in your brain. The production methods behind this chocolate masterpiece aren't what most people expect. After visiting their main production facility, I can now walk you through the exact 7-stage process that creates this chocolate phenomenon, like a carefully orchestrated symphony of flavor. From the specialized milk treatment, completely different from competitors, to the final cooling tunnel that determines texture, you'll discover not just how, but why Cadbury has dominated the chocolate market for generations. Ever grabbed a chocolate bar that wasn't Cadbury and thought, something's just off? That disappointment isn't in your head. There's actual science behind why most chocolate manufacturers can't match that distinctive dairy milk experience, and it comes down to a series of shortcuts that prioritize profit over taste. The chocolate industry has a dirty little secret. While consumers see beautiful commercials featuring silky, flowing chocolate, the reality is that 78% of chocolate bars on the market contain artificial flavoring and cheap filler ingredients. These additives create a product that merely resembles real chocolate while maxing out profit margins at the expense of your taste buds. Manufacturing shortcuts dramatically impact your chocolate experience. Most manufacturers blast their cocoa beans at extremely high temperatures. It's faster and cheaper, but it literally burns away the complex flavor compounds that give chocolate its depth. Imagine overcooking a delicate fish. Once those flavors are gone, no amount of seasoning can bring them back. Then there's the milk issue. Standard chocolate factories use dried milk powder that can sit in warehouses for months. While cost effective, it creates that waxy, slightly chalky texture in lower quality chocolates because the proteins simply don't interact with cocoa butter the same way fresh milk does. The aging process gets rushed too. Premium chocolate needs time for flavors to develop, similar to a good wine, but aging ties up inventory and warehouse space. Most manufacturers cut this crucial step short, giving you that slightly bitter, tannic aftertaste that makes you reach for water afterward. Quality control tells another story. In standard factories, inspectors primarily check for appearance and packaging integrity, while taste consistency takes a back seat. Some manufacturers even adjust formulations based on fluctuating ingredient costs without informing consumers, creating that frustrating experience where your favorite chocolate suddenly doesn't taste quite right. These shortcuts have real consequences. That disappointing moment when chocolate doesn't melt properly or hits one boring note instead of developing on your palate. It's the direct result of manufacturing decisions prioritizing efficiency over experience. The problem extends to ingredient sourcing. Most companies purchase commodity-grade cocoa from brokers who blend beans from different regions to hit a price point rather than a flavor profile. This strips away the unique terroir characteristics that make chocolate exceptional, like buying wine made from grapes from a dozen different countries. Even packaging plays a role. Cost-effective materials don't properly protect chocolate from temperature fluctuations and odor absorption. That chocolate that somehow picked up notes of whatever else was in your pantry, that's poor packaging at work. Another corner cut for profit margins. Cadbury dairy milk differs through their unique milk treatment process and meticulous cocoa bean selection. While competitors focus on making chocolate cheaply, Cadbury focuses on making it right, using proprietary methods that preserve the natural chemistry of their ingredients, creating that signature taste that keeps consumers coming back for generations. 3. Bean selection, the foundation of flavor. While other chocolate makers are busy cutting corners, Cadbury's journey to create your favorite chocolate bar begins in the rich soils of Ghana, not in a factory. Most people assume all cocoa beans are essentially the same, but Cadbury knows this couldn't be further from the truth, and they're willing to spend millions annually to prove it. When you bite into a Cadbury dairy milk, you're experiencing Ghana's distinctive terroir, that precise combination of soil, climate, and growing conditions that creates these beans' signature flavor profile. Similar to how wine connoisseurs detect subtle notes in different vintages, Cadbury's chocolate carries unique caramel undertones and fruity hints that come directly from these specific growing conditions. Unlike competitors who source beans based primarily on price, Cadbury maintains a dedicated network of specialists who travel directly to West African cocoa farms, bypassing commodity markets entirely. These specialists function as cocoa sommeliers, evaluating each batch using a proprietary 23-point quality checklist that results in rejecting approximately 90% of inspected beans. They're looking for specific bean varieties that match Cadbury's centuries-old flavor requirements. Think of it like finding the perfect diamond, most look fine to the untrained eye, but experts can spot the subtle flaws immediately. The relationship between Cadbury and Ghanaian farmers goes beyond simple transactions. The company has established long-term partnerships with specific growing regions, paying premium prices, typically 15 to 20% above market rate, to secure the highest quality beans. This investment ensures farmers can focus on quality rather than quantity, maintaining traditional growing methods that preserve those complex flavor compounds. Cocoa beans develop their character within 20 degrees of the equator, where soil chemistry, rainfall patterns, and surrounding vegetation influence flavor. A cocoa tree growing beside banana plants produces beans with different flavor notes than one near cassava. Cadbury's field specialists monitor these environmental factors throughout the season, tracking soil mineral content and the specific fermentation techniques used after harvesting. This post-harvest fermentation process is crucial for flavor development. While industry standard fermentation lasts 2 to 3 days, Cadbury insists on a 5 to 7 day process. This extended period allows enzymes to break down proteins and sugars, creating the precursor compounds for Cadbury's distinctive chocolate profile. Each approved batch undergoes extensive laboratory testing before shipping. Cadbury's quality labs analyze everything from moisture content to specific flavor compounds, testing for over 400 volatile compounds, with particular focus on the cocoa butter profile responsible for that characteristic melt-in-your-mouth quality. This meticulous bean selection process represents one of Cadbury's largest investments, with millions spent annually on premium payments, specialist salaries, and testing infrastructure. Most competitors have shifted to standardized commodity-grade cocoa to reduce costs and simplify production. The result? When you notice that specific flavor that sets Cadbury apart from other chocolate bars, you're tasting Ghana's specific growing conditions. Hints of caramel, subtle fruity undertones, and a remarkably clean finish without bitterness. This is what you instantly recognize as the Cadbury taste, the direct result of choices made not in the factory, but in those carefully selected cocoa farms thousands of miles away. 4. The secret milk formula, Cadbury's game-changing innovation. Those premium Ghanaian beans meet their match in what might be the food industry's most protected manufacturing secret. While other chocolate makers stick to standard dried milk powder, Cadbury employs a proprietary milk processing technique so distinctive and crucial to their signature taste that it's literally protected by legal contract. This scientific approach is the reason why Cadbury melts differently in your mouth than any competitor's chocolate. Back in 1905, Cadbury's engineers developed what's now known in industry circles as the Cadbury method. This method transformed chocolate production forever. Instead of using dried milk powder, Cadbury starts with fresh, whole milk that undergoes a specialized evaporation process under strictly controlled conditions. The Cadbury method is like a family recipe that's been guarded for generations, refined over time, but never fundamentally changed. As one veteran Cadbury engineer once remarked, "We're not just making chocolate here, we're preserving a century-old legacy with every batch." What makes this approach special is how it preserves specific milk proteins that normally break down during conventional processing. These proteins create that distinctive creaminess that hits your taste buds immediately. The process unfolds methodically. The journey begins with fresh milk delivered daily to Cadbury facilities, undergoing evaporation that removes water while preserving delicate flavor compounds and protein structures. The result is a concentrated milk product with a completely different molecular profile than standard powdered milk. The magic happens when this prepared milk combines with cocoa mass at a precise temperature between 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. This specific temperature window activates certain flavor compounds in both ingredients that remain dormant otherwise, creating Cadbury's unmistakable taste profile. The production floor resembles a laboratory more than a food factory. Engineers monitor the mixture using specialized equipment measuring viscosity to the 100th decimal point, essentially gauging the mouthfeel before the chocolate is even formed into bars. Quality standards remain brutally strict. If a batch doesn't meet exact specifications for viscosity, protein structure, or flavor compound development, it gets rejected. No exceptions. About 4% of all production gets scrapped due to these exacting standards, representing millions in lost revenue annually. The milk treatment creates that smooth texture by altering how the chocolate responds to body temperature. The preserved milk proteins form unique structures with cocoa butter that melt at a different rate than competitor chocolates. triggering pleasure receptors in your brain in a distinct way. This method is so crucial to Cadbury's identity that when Kraft Foods acquired the company in 2010, they signed legally binding agreements never to change this production technique. Despite all technological advances in food science over the last century, no competitor has successfully reverse engineered this process. Many have tried, spending millions on research, but that distinctive Cadbury mouthfeel remains uniquely theirs. 5. Conching and refining, engineering the perfect texture. That signature mouthfeel isn't just about milk processing, it's also engineered through a little-known manufacturing stage that runs non-stop for 3 full days. While most chocolate makers rush this critical step to save money, Cadbury's willingness to triple their production time creates a texture difference you can literally feel on your tongue. Welcome to the conching room, arguably the most important yet least understood part of chocolate manufacturing. This is where chocolate transforms from a gritty, somewhat unpleasant mixture into the silky smooth product we crave. And Cadbury takes this process to an extreme that most manufacturers simply won't touch. Standard chocolate factories typically conch their chocolate for about 24 to 48 hours before moving to the next production stage. Cadbury, however, extends this process to a full 72 hours, 3 days of continuous mechanical processing that dramatically impacts the final product. Like sculptors perfecting a masterpiece, these massive machines with heavy granite rollers work tirelessly, applying precise amounts of pressure and heat to physically alter the chocolate at a microscopic level. Every chocolate particle gets broken down smaller and smaller with each passing hour, while cheaper chocolate often contains particles larger than 30 microns, causing that slight grittiness against your tongue. Cadbury's exacting standards demand particle sizes between 18 to 20 microns at precisely 49.5 degrees Celsius, creating that distinctive melt-in-your-mouth sensation that's immediately perceptible to your palate, even if you can't consciously identify why it feels smoother than others. The conching process does more than just reduce particle size. As the chocolate mass rotates through the machines hour after hour, volatile acids naturally present in cocoa gradually evaporate, eliminating bitterness, while desirable flavor compounds develop and intensify, creating the familiar taste profile chocolate lovers recognize. The energy consumption in the conching room is staggering. These massive machines run continuously for days, requiring enormous amounts of electricity to power the motors and maintain precise heating. This single production stage accounts for roughly 38% of the entire factory's energy usage, costing Cadbury millions annually. When competitors cut conching time to 24 hours during energy price spikes, Cadbury absorbs these costs rather than reducing their process. What makes this remarkable is that the benefits are purely experiential rather than nutritional. A chocolate bar conched for 24 hours and one conched for 72 hours have identical caloric content. The difference lies entirely in mouthfeel and flavor development. Cadbury recognized decades ago that texture isn't just a quality issue, it's fundamental to brand identity. The distinctive way their chocolate behaves on your palate creates an eating experience that triggers consumer loyalty. While most manufacturers consider the conching room just another production step, Cadbury treats it as the heart of their operation, where quality control begins long before the chocolate is wrapped. In the next section, we'll explore the rigorous testing process that ensures each batch meets their exacting standards. 6. Quality control, the unseen guardians of taste. Beyond the carefully formulated chocolate recipes lies an equally impressive system designed to maintain absolute consistency in every Cadbury bar. While texture might be one critical aspect, it's just a single factor in their obsessive pursuit of quality. For every chocolate bar you've enjoyed, it's survived a gauntlet of 42 different quality tests performed every half hour, with one test that can't be replicated by any machine on Earth. Step inside the Cadbury production facility and you'll discover quality control stations that most consumers never see. Technicians in lab coats regularly pull random samples from production lines, churning out 10,000 chocolate bars hourly. These chocolate guardians perform tests that rival those of high-tech industries, measuring dimensions to 0.1 millimeters, weighing to within 0.01 grams, and analyzing exact color shades against digital references. The snap test stands as the crown jewel of Cadbury's quality arsenal. That satisfying crack when breaking quality chocolate reveals crucial information about proper crystallization. Like a conductor listening for the perfect note in an orchestra, texture analyzers measure the exact resistance before a clean break. This scientific measurement tells quality experts everything about the chocolate's structure and tempering process. "The snap test is absolutely critical," explains a senior quality technician. "When a chocolate doesn't break with that clean, crisp sound, it tells us something fundamental has gone wrong with the crystallization process. No matter how good the ingredients, if the tempering is wrong, the eating experience is compromised. Machines can measure precisely, but the human senses remain irreplaceable in chocolate quality control." Cadbury maintains an elite team of professional chocolate tasters who've passed rigorous sensory examinations that 98% of applicants fail. These sensory experts work in specially controlled evaluation booths, judging samples against 18 distinct flavor markers using a proprietary scoring system perfected over generations. What makes these human quality guardians so valuable is their ability to detect problems no machine can identify. Production lines costing thousands per minute in downtime have stopped because a taster detected a barely perceptible flavor deviation that passed every instrumental test but fell outside Cadbury's strict parameters. We've had instances where tasters flagged batches that passed every instrumental test, notes the head of quality assurance. Later analysis revealed minute changes in milk-protein interaction that our machines couldn't detect but would have altered the mouthfeel. That's why the human element remains irreplaceable. This quality obsession comes at substantial financial cost. Cadbury destroys approximately 1.2% of all produced chocolate for failing standards, even when deviations would be unnoticeable to average consumers. In 2017, tasters detected a subtle off note that shut down an entire facility for 38 hours, while engineers traced a minute variation in cocoa butter crystallization. The shutdown cost over £1.8 million, but preserved the consistency that defines the Cadbury experience. 7. Evolution of excellence. From Victorian workshop to modern marvel. That 1.8 million shutdown isn't just a testament to Cadbury's commitment to quality, it's the latest chapter in a 200-year chocolate odyssey. The silky smooth bar melting in your mouth today would be completely unrecognizable to its Victorian creators. The gritty, bitter concoction John Cadbury first sold in 1824 shares almost nothing with today's treat except the name and an unwavering dedication to pushing chocolate-making boundaries. Every Cadbury bar carries the weight of 2 centuries of innovation. When John Cadbury opened his Birmingham shop, chocolate existed primarily as a medicinal beverage, gritty and bitter, requiring customers to mix cocoa with hot water and add sugar themselves. As a Quaker opposing alcohol, John marketed these drinks as healthy alternatives to spirits, far from the convenient indulgence we know today. From humble beginnings to revolutionary breakthroughs, Cadbury's journey transformed chocolate forever. In 1866, they imported Dutch cocoa pressing technology, separating cocoa butter from solids and enabling the creation of solid chocolate bars. By 1875, they launched their first eating chocolate, though still leagues away from modern standards. The true transformation came through persistence. Between 1895 and 1905, Cadbury chemists conducted over 200 trials before finally cracking the code with the original dairy milk, featuring the revolutionary glass and a half of fresh milk in every half pound. Like master artists refining their technique, each failure taught them crucial lessons about cocoa percentages, milk processing, and sugar crystallization. Even world conflicts sparked innovation. During World War II, government rationing limited access to milk and sugar, forcing Cadbury's engineers to develop emergency formulations with different milk processing techniques and alternative sweeteners. Surprisingly, these wartime adjustments improved certain flavor aspects, with the post-war dairy milk incorporating several of these discoveries. The chocolate's evolution continued through the automation age. While competitors fully mechanized, Cadbury took a balanced approach in the 1960s and 70s. They preserved certain hand-operated elements, particularly in conching and tempering, where engineers determined machines couldn't match human touch for quality results. Today's production scale would astonish the company's founders. A single modern production line creates more chocolate in 1 hour than the entire company produced in a month during the 1920s. What once required 300 workers operating for 90 days now takes 12 technicians in a single shift. Yet despite this efficiency, the chocolate still requires the same fundamental time-intensive processes, particularly in aging and conching, that defined Cadbury's approach a century ago. The most remarkable aspect of Cadbury's story is what hasn't changed. They still use descendants of John Cadbury's original cocoa bean strains. Temperature ranges for key processes have barely shifted in a century. Even the sequence of adding ingredients follows patterns established generations ago. This delicate balance between innovation and tradition explains why Cadbury Dairy Milk maintains its distinctive character despite massive production changes. The chocolate-making process evolved from Victorian workshop to modern marvel, not by abandoning traditional methods, but by finding ways to scale them while preserving their essential qualities. A recipe for success that stood the test of time. 8. Conclusion. So the next time you unwrap that iconic purple Cadbury Dairy Milk wrapper, remember, you're holding an edible legacy of innovation perfected through 2 centuries. From Birmingham's humble beginnings to today's high-tech production lines, every step creates that unmistakable Cadbury moment. This marriage of technology with tradition crafts the taste memories we all share. Science explains the smoothness, dedication explains the satisfaction. That first bite triggers something beyond taste. It's an emotional experience engineered to perfection. What childhood Cadbury memory stands out to you? Share in the comments and subscribe for more videos revealing how your favorite foods are crafted. What iconic product should we explore next?